So, good evening, everyone. We will be starting. Well, I say welcome back to those of you who have been participating in our workshop for the past 7 months. And I say welcome to new participants. Let's get started. So I remind you that this digital storytelling workshop is carried out under direct sponsorship and support of American Center Tashkent. And each month we discuss a different topic and we give you hand-on tools and tutorials on how to create a digital story using pictures, videos, and other media files. This month, March 2021, we will be discussing the topic related to children. So we are going to talk about children. Before we start our new topic, I would like to flashback our previous month's workshop, which had lots of participants and most of them were really interested in the topic. And I should point out that most of our participants were women because the topic was women empowerment. And based on this topic and also combining this topic with our previous topic of under one sun, so people with disabilities. Well, our participants chose Miss Zebuna Sa's story to be the winner story. Before we start on a new topic, I would like you to watch a preview from Miss Zebuna Sa's story. You can watch the story on our Facebook page, and you're welcome to give your opinion on the story. So let's get started with Miss Zebuna Sa's story then. A cherished dream. That's the winner story of last month's workshop. Okay, so that was a digital story winning our last month's workshop. I told the story of Kurmatoyo Marwa. Um, I will not tell you everything. You have to watch the story for yourself. It's a very strong story with lots of motivation behind that and truly empowers women. Well, thank you so much for the story. And now, this month, we will be concentrating on children's issues. Let's get started. Okay, objectives of this topic. This month, we are aimed to create a digital story of 2-3 minutes describing diverse lives of children around the world. So, before we start on the topic, let's discuss some of the key issues that children are facing around the world. So, one of the biggest issues, based on the listverse.com list, that's violence through indoctrination. Poverty and life as refugees are another factors affecting children's happiness. And lack of access to education is undeniably one of the biggest issues in the world today. Child neglect, child labor, child prostitution, and others will follow up the list. So there are many key issues, and you can choose any issue that seems to be close to you that you can feel. So as a tutor here, I would recommend you to choose lack of education or lack of access to education for children as an issue to address. Or we can, based on these key issues, analyze and identify problems children are facing in our local communities. So before we start on to the facts sheet, I would like you to consider some of the issues children are facing in our communities. Can you please identify some issues that you can see? You can type these issues or you can you can take a turn and speak about them. Well, here I'm reading child labor at the cotton fields, which our state is step by step demolishing this kind of child labor, and also we have lack of access to quality education. Yes, lack of access to education, that's not really an issue because everyone has compulsory primary and secondary education here in Uzbekistan. But quality education, yes, that's another issue. Well, here we are having child neglect. Yes, child neglect can be another problem. So later in our Telegram group, please discuss all of these issues and try to pick up an issue that seems close to you, that touches you, or that you have had experience with. Because based on this key issue, you will be creating a story. So let's make a little introduction to this topic now. According to the UNICEF, that's an international organization dealing with the issues of children, 25,000 children die each day due to poverty. And around 27-28% of all children in developing countries, to which Uzbekistan belongs, are estimated to be underweight or stunted. The two regions that account for the bulk of the deficiency are South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa, which is far from us, but still, poverty is still an issue in Central Asian states as well. Some 1.1 billion people in developing countries have inadequate access to water, and 2.6 billion lack basic sanitation. So this can be an issue in our rural areas. If you teach in rural areas, you have already considered this issue probably. Almost 2 in 3 people are lacking access to clean water. This can also be described one of the key issues for children's health here in Uzbekistan as well. And some 1.8 million child death each year is a result of diarrhea. Well, it's not that much under control in our region, but still, diseases and illnesses killing children each year is an immediate issue to be addressed here in Uzbekistan as well. So you can take a health issue or issues with education, basic sanitation needs as your key focus area. Also, for the 1.9 billion children from the developing world, there are 640 million without adequate shelter and 400 million with no access to safe water, as we have already told, and 270 million with no access to health services. Here we mostly have health services access thanks to our government policy, but quality health services, that can be another issue. Also, 10.6 million children died in 2003 before they reached the age of 5. Well, that's the same as children population in France, Germany, Greece, and Italy taken together. It's a very sad statistics. 1.4 million die each year from lack of access to safe drinking water and adequate sanitation, and 2.2 million children die each year because they are not immunized. Millions of parents in developing countries must daily cope with the fact that their children may not survive the first critical years of their life. And in many cases, the diseases that threaten their children's lives are preventable. So, these issues, always in the shadow, they maybe there are more deaths from other diseases, but children are symbols of hope. So they are flowers of humans' life. If our flowers are fading, that's a critical issue to address. So in the world, there are millions of problems. You can watch them on the news, and I'm sure that some of you have life experience with this kind of problems. Maybe you have served in the communities like that as a volunteer. But if these topics are unfamiliar or unrelated to you, please pick up an issue children are facing in your local community. So that can be anything. That can be anything, starting from a lack of quality education to, let's see, families having lots of children, not being able to provide for everyone, and etc. So our aim here is to raise awareness of children's problem with the help of digital stories. So what are we going to do is we have 4 basic points to prepare today. First of all, I would like you to identify local issues children are facing. So try to think locally. You don't have to come up with an issue that African children are facing or Syrian refugees, because these concepts are not very much familiar to you. I would like you to create a story that has personal connection to you, something you have seen or you have heard or you have witnessed, so that you can make other people feel the feel in your shoes, right? Okay, the second thing to do is in our group, please discuss possible solutions for these key issues. So how can we address lack of quality education? How can we address, let's see, gender issues in education, and etc. And then please pick up one idea for the story. And then using this idea, we will further create a digital story. So as usual, your first task will be to come up with an idea. And this idea is up to you. Research for that, watch some sample digital stories. I will send the links to the group, and watching them, please find an idea for yourself. So the idea that touches you most, that you would like to speak about. And after that, we will start working on that. So now, or if you would like your students to create the story, I will help you with some of the tools that can be accessible for children, and they can tell the story themselves. In that case, it would be even more powerful. So let's see the stories from children's perspective. So what tools are available for children, for school children, in our case, primary school children, to create digital stories? Well, according to scholastic.com, humankind's fascination with stories is no different now that we are in the age of technology. So we have been repeating and repeating that starting from the times, prehistoric times when humans lived in a caves, till until today's technology age, we still tell stories. It's a trend that never stops or never becomes old, because that's inner need of every human being to tell a story, and children are no exception. They also have stories. They also like to tell their stories. So our task as a teacher to to arm them with tools to tell their stories. So actually, one of the great things about technology is that it really encourages children to tell their stories. The stories might take like a slideshow view, a video, it can be drawings, it can be cartoon in the case of children, and etc. Whatever it is, it's someone's story and it needs to be shared. So I'm going to recommend you some of the tools that students in your class can use if they would like to create a digital story. And this kind of tools are intended for very young learners. First one is 30 hands. The process of creating a presentation with 30 hands is really simple. I'm sending the link to you right now. Okay, once children draw on a slide, they take a photo, video, or add an image or video from camera roll, and then they can edit the order of the images, and they can record audio for each slide. And this one I really encourage because this is their story. And if their voices are heard in that, it's going to be amazing. The resulting creation can be added as a video to the camera roll, which means can be downloaded to the device, or it can be uploaded to YouTube as well. Well, so I really recommend you first try yourself this software program, this application, and then recommend it for your students. I will be sending you tutorials on how to work on 30 hands in case you need further help. Another tool is Make Believe's Comics, and I really like this one. That's a really comical one. You should like your children to be involved in a little writing as well, but not so much writing as to be daunting. Why not consider introducing them to a comic app? Free is always great, and the Make Believe's Comics, that's a free app that works well for everyone. So here, kids can choose the number of panels they want for their story. They can choose their characters, objects, and backgrounds. And they aren't too many bells, whistles, so youngsters will work out in no time. It can be really easy to work out things in this app. Again, I'm sending the link, so please consider this tool as well. Next one is a Shadow Puppet. As name suggests, Shadow Puppet is a really versatile app that's suitable for both kids and adults who want to make a shared story. Kids can choose images or video and then add music or record their voice narrating, just like every digital storytelling software. It makes sharing holiday snaps and tall tales and with grandparents easy, and resulting video can be also uploaded to the YouTube. So, and also there is one more tool I would like to share with you. That's Lego Movie Maker. Personally, my children love this one because they can put a Lego character in any story. This is a free app that makes fairly straightforward for kids to create stop motion movies. Kids can set up a photo with Lego or other toys and snap it from within the app. Then they move part of the set a little to show progression in their story and take another photo. They repeat this, building a short video from their photos. They can also choose music and sound effects. And you can read my review on Lego Movie Maker at BookChook. I have written a review as a parent, as my kids love using this one. So it's a really interesting tool to try. Well, basically today, that's very much it with our introduction part of the digital storytelling workshop. After a short break, I will be seeing you for practical part. So we will be working with word mapping software and mapping the ideas for our story on this topic. So we'll be back shortly. Okay, if you have questions during the break, you are welcome to ask. So you can now switch on to our Telegram group and ask the questions that you'd like to be answered. Well, see you shortly.